Nearly a decade has passed since the UK voted to leave the European Union, a decision that sent shockwaves not only through Britain but across the world. The referendum result marked a turning point in modern British history, with consequences that continue to unfold today. The vote set off a period of intense political upheaval, with passionate protests, heated debates, and deep divisions emerging within society and government. Prime Minister David Cameron, who had called the referendum, resigned in the aftermath, acknowledging the magnitude of the decision and its impact on the nation's future. His successor, Theresa May, faced the daunting task of negotiating a withdrawal agreement with the EU, but her efforts were met with fierce resistance both at home and abroad. Years of political gridlock and uncertainty followed as Parliament struggled to agree on the terms of departure, leaving the country in a state of limbo. The deadlock finally ended with Boris Johnson's decisive 2019 election victory and his bold promise to get Brexit done, which resonated with a weary public. The UK officially left the EU on January 31, 2020, entering a transition period while a new trade deal was hammered out, marking the end of one era and the uncertain beginning of another. Negotiations during this period were fraught with tension, as both sides clashed over critical issues like fishing rights, regulatory standards, and fair competition. On Christmas Eve 2020, after months of high-stakes talks, the Trade and Cooperation Agreement was announced, allowing tariff-free trade but introducing new bureaucracy and regulatory hurdles for businesses and travelers alike. The UK's new relationship with the EU began in 2021, but it was immediately complicated by the global pandemic and a mounting energy crisis, both of which put additional strain on the economy and daily life. These global shocks made it difficult to isolate Brexit's effects from other challenges, as the country faced unprecedented disruptions on multiple fronts. Now, as the dust begins to settle and more data becomes available, a clearer, though still evolving, picture of Brexit's impact is starting to emerge. The question remains, how is Brexit really going? Is the country better off, or are the costs outweighing the benefits? The answer is complex, shaped by years of political drama, economic change, and the unpredictable events that have tested the nation's resilience. As we look back on this tumultuous journey, we must weigh both the promises made and the realities faced. Let's examine the impact and see what the future might hold for the UK. To truly assess Brexit, we need to look through two powerful lenses: economics and sovereignty. These are the main forces shaping the debate and the outcomes that followed the 2016 referendum. The economic lens asks a simple but crucial question: has Brexit made the UK richer or poorer overall? Has it strengthened the nation's finances, or has it led to new challenges? Has it helped businesses to grow and thrive, or has it made life harder for companies and workers across the country? The Leave campaign promised prosperity, more global trade deals, and freedom from EU rules, painting a picture of a brighter, more independent future. The political lens, on the other hand, focuses on sovereignty, reclaiming control over the UK's laws, borders, and money, and making decisions without outside influence. For many people, Brexit was about self-determination and national pride, not just about economic gains or losses. These perspectives often clash. What's seen as a loss economically may be viewed as a political or symbolic gain, and vice versa. For example, new UK regulations might raise costs for businesses, but they also serve as proof of the country's independence and ability to set its own rules. This ongoing tension between economic outcomes and political ideals explains why Brexit remains such a divisive and emotional issue. Any honest assessment of Brexit's impact must consider both dimensions. Neither can be ignored if we want a full picture. Declining GDP figures don't address the question of sovereignty, and symbolic political wins don't necessarily ease the economic pain felt by many. People valued these goals differently in 2016, and the debate over which matters more continues to shape the country's future. The real challenge is finding a way to balance them, economics and sovereignty, so that the UK can move forward. How do we know what Brexit changed? Economists use the doppelganger, or synthetic control method. They build a virtual UK from a mix of similar countries, like the US, Germany, and Canada, to mirror the UK's pre-Brexit economy. After 2016, the real UK diverges from its synthetic twin. Comparing the two reveals the Brexit effect. This method filters out global shocks like COVID-19, since both the real and synthetic UK are affected. The difference isolates Brexit's impact. This approach, pioneered by economists at the LSE, is now the gold standard for measuring Brexit's economic consequences. It lets us see what might have been. The results are telling. The doppelganger method shows the UK's economy has grown more slowly than its synthetic twin. The gap began after the 2016 referendum and widened after leaving the single market in 2021. The OBR forecasts a long-term productivity hit of around 4%. The UK economy is smaller than it likely would have been inside the EU, meaning less tax revenue and lower average incomes. This isn't a collapse, but a persistent drag, slow underperformance, not disaster. The UK is still growing, but it's losing pace with its peers. Year after year, the cumulative loss adds up. For households and public services, this means tougher choices and fewer resources. The cost is real, even if gradual. Global Britain promised new trade deals and economic growth. In reality, new deals with countries like Australia and New Zealand add little to GDP and don't offset losses from leaving the EU single market. Trade with the EU is now more difficult and costly due to new barriers. UK trade, especially with the EU, has recovered more slowly than other advanced economies. Many small businesses have stopped exporting to the EU due to bureaucracy. Business investment has stagnated since 2016, with a persistent shortfall compared to similar countries. This lack of investment holds back productivity and wage growth. Political instability and regulatory uncertainty have made long-term planning difficult. Government incentives haven't reversed the trend. The economic climate remains challenging for UK businesses. The promised boom has not materialized. Productivity is the foundation of prosperity, and the UK's productivity puzzle predates Brexit. Some hoped Brexit would spark efficiency through deregulation, but evidence shows the opposite. Reduced trade intensity and lower investment have slowed productivity growth. New immigration rules have created labor shortages, especially in key sectors. While the points-based system attracts skilled workers, many industries struggle to fill roles. Automation helps some, but many businesses can't operate at full capacity. Brexit has worsened an existing weakness. Without a productivity boost, higher growth and living standards are hard to achieve. The challenge is now even greater. As Brexit's economic impact becomes clearer, public opinion has shifted. Polls now show a majority believe leaving the EU was a mistake, a phenomenon dubbed Brexit. Demographic change is driving this shift, as younger pro-European voters enter the electorate. Older, leave-leaning voters are a shrinking share. Most now say Brexit has hurt the economy and raised prices. Even some Leave voters admit outcomes are worse than expected. Yet many still value sovereignty or fear reopening old divisions. Political parties rarely discuss reversing Brexit, despite public dissatisfaction. There's a gap between public opinion and political debate. The issue remains unresolved and politically sensitive. Despite public dissatisfaction, Brexit is rarely discussed by major parties. The Conservatives, having delivered Brexit, can't admit failure without undermining their legacy. They focus on future opportunities and blame global events for economic woes. Labour, wary of past defeats, avoids talk of rejoining the EU or single market. Their policy is to make Brexit work through small improvements, not big changes. Both parties fear alienating swing voters in key constituencies. The focus is on unifying issues like the NHS and cost of living. This consensus creates a political vacuum. The public wants change, but leaders stay silent. The Brexit debate is frozen, even as dissatisfaction grows. The silence is strategic, not accidental. The political silence on Brexit won't last forever, but any significant change will unfold slowly, almost imperceptibly at first. The debate may be quiet now, but beneath the surface, pressures are building that will eventually demand attention. Economic pressures, slower growth, reduced trade, and declining investment are mounting steadily, affecting businesses and communities across the country. As the costs become undeniable and public opinion gradually shifts, political parties may be forced to reconsider their stance, even if reluctantly. A dramatic return to the EU is unlikely in the near future, but the possibility of closer alignment is growing stronger with each passing year. Future governments may seek technical agreements, such as easing trade barriers, cooperating on standards, or improving customs arrangements to benefit both sides. Over time, these incremental steps could evolve into deeper integration, perhaps resembling Norway or Switzerland's close but independent relationship with the EU. Economic necessity, rather than political ideology, will be the main driver of this process, as practical needs outweigh old divisions. Leaders will frame these moves as pragmatic problem-solving, not as an attempt to reverse Brexit, but as a way to secure the nation's future. The future of UK-EU relations will be shaped by a blend of economic reality and political possibility, with each side watching the other closely. For now, the journey is slow and cautious, marked by careful steps and measured decisions. The memory of past battles lingers in the national consciousness, but the need for change and adaptation only grows stronger with time. The UK's path may bend back toward Europe, step by pragmatic step, guided by necessity and shaped by the lessons of the past.